Hey everyone, this video is for reading for Friday, March 20th. So for today, we are going to continue to talk about character point of view. So in order to get ready, I want you to start to think what character point of view is. So point of view, and I'm going to be pausing. This is a chance to think to yourself, talk out loud. If you're doing this with someone at your house, you should pause this video at these parts where I'm asking questions and talk to them just like a think, pair, share. This is your opportunity to still be sharing your thoughts. So if you're watching this video or if you have someone at home with you who's helping you with work today, pause the video and go talk to them. So what is character point of view? How do you determine it? What is character point of view? How do you determine it? How do you figure it out? So go talk to someone and pause the video if someone's there. Okay? Character point of view. It's how a character, which is a person or an animal in a fiction text, it's how they think or feel about something. We determine this and we figure it out by looking in the text and finding clues. We look at their actions, what they're doing. We listen to what they're saying. If we can find out what they're thinking or feeling, we use all these clues and we put it together and we determine their point of view about something. Different characters in a story can have different points of view. So what we're going to do is we are going to jump into this point of view. And we are going to be reading The Stable Boy and the Prince on page 260 of your Ready book. So please get that out if you don't have it now. So while we are reading, we are going to be annotating any important things. This is a fiction text. I can tell because I'm seeing some characters and I'm seeing dialogue as I'm looking at this. And I want to prepare myself by getting my mind ready about what the story's about. So a stable boy, we should be thinking about what a stable boy is. That's not really a term we probably hear often. I know a stable is where horses go. So a stable boy, maybe it's someone who works with horses. And I do see a horse down at the bottom. And a prince. Now a prince, I know is royalty. So that sounds kind of almost like the opposite of a stable boy to me. So I'm just going to get my mind prepared a little bit so I'm ready to read. So I'm probably going to incorporate, come across a stable boy and I'm coming across a prince. I'm guessing as characters in this story. I'm going to go ahead and read it. We're going to pause at the important parts. You should be following along in your Ready book and making any annotations. And if you see important things that you need to annotate, and I'm not saying it, you should annotate as well. These are important notes for yourself as well. So paragraph 1, Sam offered the apple he'd found to the horse, Shadow Fox. So it sounds like there's a horse named Shadow Fox. That's one of my characters. He stroked the horse's huge head and wished for a moment that Shadow Fox could talk. 6 months had passed since Sam had been taken from his village to work at the king's stables, and it had been a very lonely time for him. I'm pausing. Great readers pause when they read to think about what they have read. It sounds right here like this is a problem for our stable boy, because it says that he has been very lonely and it's been 6 months since he left his village to work at the stable. So I've underlined those things and I'm going to write a P to represent this is a problem. It sounds like my problem is my stable boy is very lonely. I'm betting that's going to be an important part of this text. Continuing to paragraph 2. Just then the prince came riding past. Prince Oliver was about the only other boy his age that Sam ever saw. As the prince passed, Sam knelt and bowed his head. But as he looked down, he saw a huge snake coiling up in the prince's path. The prince's horse reared back and then bolted. He reared back and then he bolted. With hardly a thought, Sam jumped on Shadow Fox and raced after Prince Oliver, who was struggling to stay in the saddle. But no horse was faster than Shadow Fox. Sam reached the prince and grabbed the horse's reins. Okay, so it sounds like the stable boy was able to help this prince. Paragraph 4. The prince thanked Sam for his efforts. As they rode back to the castle, the prince spoke pleasantly with Sam. When they reached the stable, Sam said, I hope we can talk again. It's so good to speak with someone my own age. This is great. I remember my problem is the stable boy is very lonely. And now this might be my solution. He has someone to talk to. This is great for our stable boy. Let's go to paragraph 5. The prince fell silent. Then he said, remember your place. I am a prince and you are just a stable boy. Sam bowed and returned to the barn. I'll never have a friend here, he whispered. Shadow Fox walked over and rubbed his face against him. Sam hugged the horse. What am I saying, my friend? He said. I've got you. So I thought I came across my solution in paragraph 4. In paragraph 5. I thought I had my solution in paragraph 4. Paragraph 5, based off these key details, leads me to think my solution is not that this prince is going to be Stable Boy's friend and talk to him. By the way, he's speaking to him. So my solution actually seems to come across at the very end of this text when Stable Boy realizes that he has his friend Shadow Fox. Even though personally I don't think that's a really good friend, he has someone to talk to at least because the prince is not quite helping him. What we're going to do is we're going to do a couple questions. We're going to practice this where you guys are going to pause. If you have someone with you, I want you to talk to them about what we're asking. I want you to do a think, pair, share with them. Okay, I'm sure everyone has someone at home with them. Grab them, try to do a think, pair, share, and talk this out so you can practice some of these skills. First thing I want us to talk about is I want to talk about what the prince's point of view is of the stable boy. The prince has a point of view. He has a way he thinks or feels about the stable boy. We are going to determine it by looking at his actions. I remember that we first started hearing about the stable boy towards the beginning of the text, but then also in paragraph 4, Stable Boy tells him, it's so good to speak with someone my own age. And then the prince responds. The prince fell silent. Then he said, remember your place. I am a prince and you are just a stable boy. So he's almost talking down to him and tells him to remember his place. This leads me to believe, based off of what he has said to him, even though they were talking earlier, he thinks that the stable boy is beneath him. He thinks that he is not worthy to be his friend. The prince thinks he's better of him. So his point of view towards the stable boy is that he thinks he's not good enough. So you need to make sure you're underlining that key detail to show his point of view. And another question I want to ask you is context clues and determining a meaning. So I want you to right now, I want you to look at paragraph 2. The last sentence has the word bolted. And I'm going to ask you to talk to someone who's with you and figure out what the word bolted means. The sentence says, the prince's horse reared back and then bolted. Remember, when you're figuring out what a word means, you are going to look before and after that sentence. I want you to circle or underline a context clue and figure out what the word bolted means. Go tell someone now, pause the video. Okay, so if you have unpaused the video, you should have already talked to someone. If I read bolted, I'm going to read before and after. So before it says, but as he looked down, he saw a huge snake coiling up in the prince's path. The prince's horse reared back and then bolted. With hardly a thought, Sam jumped on Shadow Fox and raced after Prince Oliver, who was struggling to stay on the saddle. I'm figuring out the word bolted. I know bolted is something the horse is doing. When I read my second sentence, it says that Shadow Fox raced after Prince Oliver. So Shadow Fox is now following this other horse that's running and he's racing. I know if you're racing, you're going very fast. So if he's going very fast, this word raced leads me to think you're going fast. So bolted must also be a similar word. It must be synonym, meaning to race. So bolted means to race, to go very fast. Here's what you are going to do for the rest of your assignments for whole group reading. On page 261, you have questions 1, 2, and 2 has 2 parts. Okay, part A and part B. I want you to answer those questions. I want you to upload a photo of your work on page 261. With someone who is next to you, there is a talk piece. This is part of your work today. You don't have to upload this to the classroom, but I want you to tell someone why Sam was so eager to talk with the prince again. So you need to tell someone that. And then you have a short writing response that is on page 263, just like we did yesterday, where you are going to write your point of view towards the prince. So how are you thinking or feeling about this prince? You cannot just say, I like the prince. You cannot say, I do not like the prince. You need to tell me how you feel towards him and why. Remember, we're working on restating our questions, so you should be starting with, I think the prince is an amazing, caring person. I think this because. So you're going to go ahead and write a complete sentence, use key details to tell me why. I want you to write it in your book on 263. After you have it written out nice and neat, I want you to go to Google Classroom. You're going to type it up. I will already have a Google Doc in there, and you can just type it up in there. It'll save it with your name on it. Please make sure we're checking proper punctuation, capital letters. We want to make sure we're submitting our best work. Quick work is not the best work. Okay, and that is it for today. Next week on Monday, we will practice a little bit more about point of view. That is it for today.